Good morning. Today is November 27th. It is an A day. Objective number 7 asks us, what does a pedigree chart tell you? We only looked at fictitious charts. We looked at predictions. We looked at something that was going to give us an idea of probability. That doesn't mean it necessarily happens. What are those charts called that help you predict genes? Charts that help you predict genes. Yes, ma'am. They're Punnett squares. You are right. This is another type of chart you're looking at in genetics. It's going to help you predict what you can give to your children. If you're a genetic counselor, this might be a good chart to use. Make an inference. What is the name of this chart? Asif? It is a pedigree chart. Does anybody have a dog that has a pedigree chart? My dog was a Pomeranian. He passed away, but when he was baby, when we got him from the center, they gave us a pedigree chart, and they told us that all of his family in the pedigree chart, they show you all his mother, his father, his grandma, grandpa, they were all champion show dogs. My dog was not a good dog. I don't know where he got that champion show dog gene from, but nobody gave it to him. He would yap all day long. He wouldn't sit still. He wouldn't listen. He couldn't give me his paw forever. I have two other dogs, and they give you the paw so fast. This one we couldn't train him to do anything. I don't know. I think they lied. Anyway, pedigree chart tells you what information. What information is this going to tell you, Jamie? It's your family tree. You can do a pedigree chart for any family traits. Tasia, you with me, girl? Okay. So, if you wanted to find out what traits are in your family, you make a chart, but you can only do this for each individual trait. Genetic counselors do this because they want to find out where the disease came from. If you want to have a baby and you're not sure if there's any diseases you should be worried about, you make a family tree to trace the history of the diseases. So we're going to look at a family tree today. And this family tree is going to be based on a disease called Tay-Sachs. So I need somebody who can articulate well and would like to read about Tay-Sachs. Come up to the mic. Go ahead, Asif. We're going to read about Tay-Sachs. So this is the paper everybody needs to have out. Okay, everybody has this paper. You're going to read the first sentence first.
Tay-Sachs disease is a rare inherited disorder that progressively destroys nerve cells or neurons in the brain and spinal cord.
Okay, everybody underline the word progressively. What does that mean? If it's progressively, what happens, Tyler? Yeah, it happens quickly, but it happens over time. It doesn't happen immediately. It goes like one thing on top of another. It's keep going, like spiraling. Okay, keep going.
The most common form of Tay-Sachs disease becomes apparent in infancy. Infants with this disorder typically appear normal until the age 3 to 6 months when their development slows and muscles used for movement weaken.
Okay, freeze. Which two systems are affected by this disease? Which two body systems? We learned about body systems in the beginning. Which two body systems? Give me one. The muscular system. Good. What's the other system? Skeletal could be affected because your muscles get pulled on by bones, but they talked about it. What's the other system they talked about, Caitlin? It's in the first sentence. It destroys your nerve cells in your brain. Which system is that? Nervous system. Good job. Keep going.
Affected infants lose motor skills such as turning over, sitting, and crawling. They also develop an exaggerated startle reaction to loud noises. As the disease progresses, children with Tay-Sachs disease experience seizures, vision and hearing loss, intellectual disability, and paralysis. An eye abnormality called a cherry red spot, which can be identified with an eye examination, is a characteristic of this disorder. Children with this severe infantile form of Tay-Sachs disease usually live only into early childhood.
So do they have kids if you have Tay-Sachs? No. So if you don't have a lot of people in your family with this disease, you don't know you carry this. You don't know you have that hidden gene. So it's very scary because if you Give it to your child, they don't live. They always die. Your body has to metabolize things. They have to break things down and use it properly. Well, people with taste sex cannot metabolize fat. It clogs the brain. And when it does that, they get very um, disabled. They get sick, but they get disabled. It really bothers their nervous system. So we're going to continue to read about taste sex. Thank you, Asif. Taste sex occurs when the child receives not one. How many do you need to get? 2 recessive genes. Recessive means it's not dominant, so it only shows when you have how many? 2. You have to get 2. So you always get your genes from whom? Your mother and your father. So mom and dad have to have the gene. They have to have the gene. If they have taste sex, they die. So they don't have taste sex. They're called what? When you have the gene, it's hidden and nobody knows you have it. You're a... What is it called when you have the hidden gene but nobody knows? You're the... What's it called if you have it? Hidden. You are called the... Carrier. You don't have... You're not infected, but you're just the carrier. Yes, ma'am. What do you need? Okay. All right. If the child has 1 gene for Tay-Sachs, they're not infected. They are called the carrier. Good job. So we're going to read a story. I need you to look at page 9 in your packet. Quickly. Page 9 in your Schmedium packet. Schmedium yellow packet. Go. Schmedium packet. Looks like this. This is really big on my page. I want to try to make it smaller so that I can write. Yep. All right. Oh, I'm sorry. Page 9. Can we see this on the board? You can see the circles. Do we want to shut the lights off? All right. So I'm going to read the story to you. And if you'd like to read, you need to come up here and take the mic for one of the paragraphs. So I'm going to read the first one. All right. Many years ago, a handsome young man fell in love. His name was Barry, with a beautiful young lady named Anne. This is our chart. This is our beginning. Where does the whole story begin? Let's look. When Barry falls in love with Anne, but we have to label this. So which one do you think is going to be Barry and which shape do you think is going to be Anne, Tyler? Square in the circle are the parents. So it doesn't really matter per se which one it is. You have to have a key, but generally in a pedigree chart, we use a specific shape to identify a male. It's very sturdy, this shape. What is the shape that's going to identify the male? The square. So this is the male, and we're going to label this male as Barry. So make an inference. What's the next shape going to be? The next shape is going to be what? Anne. You are right. So Barry and Anne, they fell in love. They're married. So how do we represent people that are married? We connect them together. They're connected. That line means they're married. Anybody that you can directly link to them is their child. So let's read about their children. They lived a very happy life. Anne and Barry had 4 children: Mark, Mary, Bart, and Stephanie. Bart was very sick. When he was 1 year old, he could not turn or smile. When he was 1.5 years, he couldn't move his arms or his legs. And when he was 2 years old, he couldn't swallow. Finally, Bart was diagnosed with Tay-Sachs disease, and he passed away at age 3. It's very sad. I hate this story because it makes me cry. Babies die. Okay, there's a lot of circles and squares underneath Barry and Ann. But how many kids did they have? 4. So, first is a circle, then a square. But their first child is not a girl. What's their first child? A boy. So, Austin, who's the first child? Mark. We're going to label Mark. You ready? Mark is right here. What does this line connecting the square mean? What, Ty? Yes, you know. What does that mean? The wife. They're married. These are married right here. Okay, next child. Who's the next child, Sanaya? Mark, Mary, Bart, and Stephanie. Who's the next child? We got Mark. Who's next? Mary. Come across and look at the next shape. The next shape is a circle, then a square. Which one is Mary? Circle. This is Mary, right? Mary. Tyler, I'm going to print this for you, okay? What's next? There's this square over here. What does that mean? That's Mary's what? Husband. Who's the next child? Amanda, who's the next child? Bart. What do we know about Bart? He died. He has Tay-Sachs. How many genes do you need to get Tay-Sachs? 2. So Bart has 2 Tay-Sachs genes. He's got both of them. But don't put T's in there. I want you to color the whole entire box in. Because Bart gets both genes. They should have been lowercase t anyway. From his parents. He got the disease. So in the left-hand corner, I want you to make a little key. This is a normal male, and this, what happens when we color the whole thing in? Normal male has no colors. What happens if I color the whole thing in? They have both genes, right, Tyler? And they die. Sharpen your pencil so you can finish. This is Tay-Sachs. Tay-Sachs male. What would a Tay-Sachs female look like? Yep, shaded circle. This is a normal female would have nothing. Normal female and Tay-Sachs male. Female, sorry. That's a Tay-Sachs female. What am I writing? Tay-Sachs female. Okay. Bart has a sister. What's the sister's name? Stephanie. Here's Stephanie over here. And this line means what? They're married. Okay. Let's go on with the story. Sanaya, would you like to come up here and read? Okay, come please. What happened? What line? What? Oh, I'm sorry. I messed it up. Okay. Right here, baby.
I'm Sanaya. The children grew up. Mark got married to Brittany and had 3 kids, Pamela, Ryder, and Hunter. All of his children were very healthy. Stephanie got married to Paul and had 2 kids, Samantha and Marcelo. Marcelo was diagnosed with Tay-Sachs and died at age 5. Samantha was healthy. Mary started her family later in life and had 1 child. She married Matthew. Her daughter, Felicia, was born healthy and remains healthy.
Okay, let's go back. Tell me the 3 children. Oh, who got married? Mark got married to whom?
Brittany.
Okay, let's put down Brittany. Where does Brittany belong? The circle next to Mark because they're married. This line means that anybody that's circled next to this line is a child. This first circle is their child. This is their first child. It was a girl looking in your direction. Who's the first baby? Oh, first baby is going to be Pamela. I'm going to write Pam for short. Is this a baby over here? No, that is Pam's husband. You are correct. Okay, next baby or next child is going to be what? Ryder. Ryder is a girl, by the way. And next child is whom? Hunter. Okay, good. Talk to me about Mary. Who did Mary marry? Do we know yet? Is it in the story?
No, we got Samantha. Stephanie who married.
Stephanie married whom? Paul. Stephanie marries Paul, and what happens to her?
She has 2 kids.
She has 2 kids. Who's the first kid?
Samantha.
Samantha. And who's the second kid?
Marcelo.
Marcelo. What happened to Marcelo? He died. What do we do to Marcelo's box? Color it in. All right. Keep going. What's next? We got Mary. She got married later in life. Who'd she marry? Mary married Matthew. Yep. Mary married Matthew. And what did she have? Felicia. Felicia. All right. Who would like to read next? Anybody? Am I reading next? We got shy people in this class? Down the hall this way, baby. Don't go up the stairs. Samantha met a wonderful man in college. Who'd she meet? Liam. Find Samantha and label him Liam. Liam is the boy to the left. Here we go, Liam. They had 2 children. Dwayne, who are the 2 children that Samantha and Liam had? Benji and Scarlett. Yep, Benji is the square and Scarlett is the circle. All right, what happens to them? They're good? Benji gets it. What do we do to Benji? Well, initially this was a hemophilia story and I changed it to Tay-Sachs. But so generally the boys have a better chance of getting it. This was just a coincidence that the boys have it. But anybody could get it, right? Because it's recessive. All right, let's go back to Pamela got married to Peter. Pamela got married to Peter. Who are their kids? Pam and Peter had 2 children. Their names were Patricia and Evan. They were born without Tay-Sachs. So what do we do to them? Leave them alone. They get nothing. Patricia and Evan are not colored in. Felicia got married to Charles. But what happened? 3 children. Their first child is a boy. So yours is a square. Mine is a circle, so I'll make it a square. I'm sorry. The first child on your chart, though, on page 9 is a square. So you're going to put Timothy there. Blake and Anna. Anna they say first, but Anna's a circle, so she has to go last. One of her children died of Tay-Sachs, and that was Timothy. He has Tay-Sachs. Let's color him in. Now, you see the disease, but Bart's the only one that had it up here. You can't give the disease because Bart didn't have any kids. So where did Bart have to get the genes from? Where did he get it from, Elizabeth? Barry or Annie has to get it from the parents. So Bart has to get, does Ann have the disease? No. So she had to be a what? What do you call that when you have one gene but you don't have it? You're a carrier. Ann had to be a carrier. But that's one gene from the mom. And who gives the other gene, Naomi? The dad. Barry also gives the gene. They're both carriers. So what do we write? In our little chart over here, this is going to be a carrier male, and this is a carrier female. Put it over to the side. Not mine is a little bit too big. Carrier female. Okay, so you know that Barry and Ann gave Bart the disease. Who gave Marcelo the disease? Who gave Marcelo the disease? You have to look where? Above, because you get everything from your parents. So where did it come from, Peyton? Where did Marcelo get it from? Stephanie and Paul, they're both what? Carriers. They don't have it. They're carriers. Good job. Benji has the disease too. Where does he get it from, Chelsea? Samantha gives one gene, but they have to get it from both parents, so Liam gives the other gene. Good. I'm coloring them on the wrong sides, but I don't think it matters. Okay, Timothy has the disease. Where does he get it from? His parents, Felicia and Charles. Felicia and Charles are carriers. Here's a problem, though. Felicia gets the disease. Who did she get it from? Who do you think Felicia got it from? Probably Mary. She's a carrier. She doesn't have the disease. She just has the gene. Are we 100% sure she got it from Mary? No. We are going to make an inference because if you're a carrier, unless I give you a genotype, unless I actually check your genes, we're not going to know. Right? So we don't know if Matthew is a carrier too. Could he be? Yes, but we don't color him in because this is a real life thing and we don't know for a fact. So we can only color in what we know for a fact. We can make an inference that he doesn't have the gene because he's married into the family. We have to do Matthew's family tree to find out. Tell me something about this left side. Does anybody on this side have the disease? No, but does that mean that nobody's a carrier? You don't know because it could be like Mark had one gene, but Brittany doesn't have any. So they can never give it to their kids if they only have one gene. But does that mean that this side of the family got rid of Tay-Sachs? Nope. It could still be hidden. So a lot of times the Tay-Sachs disorder will come up later in life, and they have to go back all the way back. How many generations? Count. Patricia and Evan had children. They have to go back how many generations? 1, 2, 3 to find the disease. So genetic counselors make these pictures and they tell you. They show you the whole tree. So when Patricia or Evan decide they want to have children, do they have children? Do they take the risk? This side of the family tends to be a little bit more, they're safer than this. Do you want to have children if you're Blake or Anna? Do you know if you might not want to because you're afraid you might give it to your children because it goes in the family. So look, Mary and Matthew, okay. Felicia and Charles were okay, but then Timothy had it. This one, they saw it right away. Stephanie and Paul had their first baby that was Tay-Sachs. So you don't know when it's going to show up because everything is a probability. This is the facts, though. This chart, this pedigree chart, are the facts. So what were Barry and Ann's genotypes? What were their genes? They're carriers. So if big T is normal and little t is Tay-Sachs, what is their genotype? What's their genotype, Ty? Big T, little t. Yep. That's their genotype. Write it down for number 1. Barry was big T, little t. What about Ann? Same thing. They're both heterozygous. Was Mark a carrier or not? Find Mark. Is he a carrier or not? We don't know. We have no idea. There's not enough evidence. So you can't say yes or no. You have to say NA, not enough evidence. What about Paul? Is Paul a carrier? Look at Paul. Is Paul a carrier? Yes, he is. And how do you know? Because he had a child with Tay-Sachs, because he had Marcelo. And what about Charles and Liam? Are they carriers? Yes, and you know that because they had children with Tay-Sachs. So we're never going to know if Mark was a carrier because all of the kids so far are good. But if Evan or Patricia has a baby with Tay-Sachs, will we know if Mark was a carrier? Probably, because that's where it got passed on. Okay, we're going to take the quiz that I promised you. So you can put your notes away. Your homework is this page that we looked at earlier. Put that away. Make sure you write due on Wednesday on it. This is a pedigree chart. It's very easy.